Willie Roberts.
Larnell Davis. I attended Merrill from 1953 to 1957.
I attended Merrill from 1947 till 1959.
Yeah, Duck, I came from training school on UAPB AM&M campus. So that's why I didn't go for 4 years. So they closed Corbin, which was the high school. We had to go somewhere, right. M.D. Jordan, okay? You know what we used to call him, Duck? M.D. Jordan. We said he was the warden. We called him the warden. Because he'd be walking the halls of Merrill, and you wasn't in class, he'd be after you. And, we used to sneak off and go to the store down the street. Miss Myers. Yeah. We go down there and get 2 for a penny cookies and kits. Had a good time.
Well, I had 2 principals. Mm-hmm. I had Mr. Cheney, and Mr. Jordan came after Mr. Cheney retired.
Yeah.
And I've been having very much acquaintance with Mr. Cheney about a year or so. Mr. Jordan came. We would call them Mad Dog. You see, he had different walk down the hall. You could tell he was coming. His walk was different from anybody else's walk.
That's right.
He was a man that he speak to you, he love you, but don't get it under his skin. And that's why I said the teachers and the principals here had doctor's degree, but they didn't have a doctor's degree. They knew, I would say, how to meet you, how to talk to you, how to make you feel like they were your mom or your dad. So that's why I said Merrill, we used to call this the greenhouse on the hill.
Right.
And the greenhouse on the hill is still here. And it still has some echoes in it. I still see my teachers. I still see my classmates. I still see teachers trying to mold us to be men and young women, you see. When I left home, I said I was coming to my mom and dad. When I got back home, I was with my mom and dad. So mom and dad never left.
Right.
They were disciplinarians. They were people that wanted you to be something in the world. They want you to grow up. And in essence, they want you to grow up real fast. Because why? It said the world grows fast. And they want to teach you some things that would involve you in your everyday life.
Now, what a lot of people don't know or may not remember, that Massey Jordan and his family lived across from the school. They were right, he could walk out of his house and walk right into his office and never make a zig or a zag, So, it's like you go to school in the morning, he's been there. Then he can go home and get him a cup of coffee or whatever he wants, because it's right across the street.
I can remember Mr. Jordan. I was going to be like the big boy. You were talking about how they cut class. So I'm going to cut class. So I look back on the bell sound and said, Mr. Jordan sent me home for cutting class, but the bell hadn't sounded. So my mom said, wait just a minute, G. I said, yes, ma'am. I got ready to sit down and enjoy the TV until it was on. And she said, just a minute, I'll be with you in just a minute. I noticed I heard water running in the bathroom. Didn't pay that much attention, but I did. And she got dressed, put her Sunday's best on. I said, Mama, where we going? No, I said, Malia, where we going? To school. I said, they just send me home. Well, we going back to see why they sent you off. And she got it back and said, did you send G, my son? He said, I haven't seen your son. Okay. So he left school on his own. And he said, yes, he did. My mother told me, she said, Mrs. Jordan, you handle it on this end, and I handle that end when he get back home. And I got 2 tips.
I was not an officer, but I participated. We always had a senior play. And that was the only play I ever been in after I passed 8th grade. So that was important to me, when looking back, okay? And that was real good. Now, my daddy attended Merrill, okay? Then my brother just ahead of me attended Merrill. That's Lawrence Davis Sr. and Lawrence Davis Jr., okay? And I was the third one to finish from Merrill. But I had a brother right behind me, Ron. Ron played center. He wasn't big as nothing, but he was tough. But anyway, he finished from Merrill. So I got a whole lot of stuff about being in Merrill. And my wife, that's where I found my wife, in Merrill High School, okay? I met her when she was in the 9th grade, and I was in the 10th grade. What was it? We courted all the way through high school, all the way through college. And when she finished college, we got married, okay? And she lived on this street, on Pull, Dolores Jackson, okay? Okay, she used to live over on Skull Street, but then they moved down on Pullum. And I used to walk all the way from AM&N UAPB to down here on Pullum Street, where the little park is now, okay? It used to be a church there. First Baptist used to be down there too. So there's a lot of stuff that went on then. I loved it.
I was a football player, ran track on the baseball team. Wanted to play basketball, but I couldn't do it. So I know I couldn't play the basketball one side. So I just played for baseball, football, ran track. I had some experiences that a lot of people would pay for. I had one of my experiences that I said that when I graduate, I'm getting ready to eat coaches. I'm gonna be around eat coaches. Lo and behold, when I got in college, the same coaches I had here.
You're right.
At A&M. And they were some great coaches. They were, as they were disciplinarians. They were.
Now you need to tell them who the coaches were. U.S. Grant, Vandy Johnson, Hubert Clemens. Those were the 3. Now, Ballantyne was at Merrill, but he got killed in a car accident.
Right.
We lost him. But those were the guys that actually, molded us as young guys coming up, And this guy here should have been in the major leagues. He was too dumb to learn how to hit a curveball. If he'd have ever learned how to hit a curveball, he probably would have gone to the World Series. You don't tell him that. We played the football season. We had all them 3 coaches we were talking about. Okay. Then they left and went to UAPB. Clemens and Van Ness, and finally Grant went. Okay. And the coach that came was Irvin Phillips. And Irvin Phillips was down at like Grady or somewhere.
Grady.
Was it Grady? Yeah, okay. And so he took over at half the year. So he wasn't my football coach. Wasn't Ducks football coach that year, but he was our basketball coach, okay? And we went all the way to the state championship and lost in that game. But anyway, in the finals. But anyway, that's how that changed, okay? And Phillips was a good guy. His wife was a librarian, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, something like that.
No, she was a counselor.
Was she a counselor? You probably remember that better than me.
She's a counselor.
Yeah. I forgot to tell y'all, you talking extracurricular, I was in the Honor Society. That was one thing I was proud of, because I wasn't that smart. I just would work. Okay.
Miss
Stevens was your history teacher, I'm sure.
Miss Matt was my history teacher.
Miss Mack was the oldest teacher around here.
Miss Matt Pearson was my, and Miss Sims was my math teacher. And the science teacher was Mr. Bankston.
He makes them.
And there was another science teacher.
Mr. Bowden taught biology and stuff.
Biology, yeah. Well, he was another one, my favorite teacher, Mr. Ballard, you see, because he mixed his class with fun and where you enjoy learning firefighters and
Provide back, huh?
what's up for the science term,
Yeah.
you see. But those were some of the reasons that I really enjoyed Merrill here.
Yeah.
All the 12 years that I was here, the teachers were teachers that, like I said earlier about it, they had a doctor's degree and they didn't have a doctor's degree. They teach on campus when they left here. Some did, some went on campus and still taught without that doctor's degree. This place here was an extraordinary place.
In Merrill High School, you had kids from all over Pine Bluff. I'm talking about like the Brickyard, more in the East 2nd and out West 13, and some like I came from, the north side. You had a bunch of kids here. And if you played sports and you went out for football, you were competing against like 100 and some kids just to play football. Okay, I did well in all my classes, but my favorite class was world history. And the lady that taught that was Miss Stevens. Okay, her husband was the first black mailman in Pine Bluff. Okay, but I didn't have an interest in, history until I went to her class. And she told us ancient history, like the Romans and all that. But she also taught us contemporary. We knew all about Vietnam and stuff back then. Okay, because she was that kind of teacher. And that motivated me in terms of history. But my best course was math. I made A's in all my math classes. And, I got a medal for that. I used to give medals away and all that kind of stuff. So, that's what that was.
Biggest impact Merrill made on my life, making me a man.
Mm-hmm.
It introduced me to the real side of life, the way I should express myself because of the teacher's communication with the students. I practically taught 42 years the way that they did. You see, they talk from the heart. They talk from a business standpoint. They talk where you, in essence, had to learn what they were doing because it was so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Well, I agree with you about that, man. Those teachers were something else. And I can name all the teachers by floor, almost by room that I had. Miss Kirby. You remember Miss Kirby? Yeah, she taught the math. Valentin taught the biology and sciences. E.E. Mason did the science. Miss Bentley, not Miss Bentley, did history, but the English teachers.
English teacher?
Yeah, Miss Bennett.
Bennett.
Okay, and what's the other one? I can't think of her name right now. But anyway, you're right, man. They had a lot of influence on it. But I'm gonna say the biggest influence I had from Merrill High School was meeting my wife and marrying my wife. And we lived together for, I don't know how, we got married in 1961, and she passed away like 6 years ago. And we had a family of 3 kids, and we had a ball. That's what I'm gonna say. So that was the biggest impact I had. When I went to college, I wasn't looking for no wife. I already had found my wife.